All right, so this is exactly the way that I want to come into this press conference. With 3 points every time we play at PPL, this is the way we want to start. So, just a couple things before we get to questions. Look, those conditions are tough to play in. Both teams really had to gut out today, and I'm so proud of our team specifically finding a way to win in a game like that. For the second straight week, we probably didn't play the prettiest of soccer. In those conditions, we found a way to win, especially putting a lot of pressure on them in the second half. Just felt like it was going to come. It finally did. We rode it out at the end a little bit. Probably made it a little more difficult than we would have liked, which for sure for me it was. But just a great performance, a lot of guts out there. McInerney gets a second straight game-winning goal. Sebastian gets another assist. We can't say enough about those guys. So turn it over to you guys.
John, 2 weeks, 2 goals off of corner kicks. Are you just as surprised as the rest of us are?
They had to start falling. Okay, at some point, I know some of you guys come to training and you watch us work on restarts. So at some point, you would think that this kind of production is going to happen. I do think we're a better team physically to handle the demands of some of the restarts. I said that to several people after the first game when it didn't look that way. So I think a lot of that has to do with, on particular on that one, Kevin, that we stuck with it. I mean, so many guys were going for it. And I think that says a lot about the character of our guys, really trying to make a play any way they could.
Any update on Danny Cruz at all?
Danny was pissed that he had to come out of the game. He felt like he could go, but once the medical staff makes that call, it's out of his hands, it's out of my hands. That's a tough situation. You got Michael LaHood, who's ice cold, coming into a really tough game to play in. So that changed things a lot for us. It threw off, very honestly, a lot of what we tried to do early in that game. Not that it was ever going to be great because it was, hailing or raining and wind was gusting and all that kind of stuff, but it was an adjustment for sure. Danny says he's fine right now, though.
John, how about Jeff Park? He's played really well 2 games in a row. What have you seen?
Yeah, look, Jeff is exactly what we expected him to be coming here. You can see he's so confident back there. He's leading the back line. Moby and him have formed a really good partnership right now. I think winning a game 1-0 is really important. I said last week winning a game the way we won it was really important. Well, this is another one of those games. You just got out, you get a shutout, you get a 1-0 victory. Maybe it doesn't make the highlight reels or something like that, but man, are they important for the team.
Hack, it seemed like the momentum shifted with the last 20 minutes to go in this match, where you guys were holding edge in possession and actually getting great chances. What do you think changed in that moment from minute 70 until the final whistle?
I would say that it started earlier, with all due respect, because I think that we moved Michael Farfan out wide left, and that he started getting on the ball, and they didn't have a great way to defend that. We just wanted to see if we could put Antoine in that situation, and that's the change that you're talking about, because now Antoine is going to stretch the defense. He's going to come in there with a lot of energy, a lot of pace, and he did that. And at that time, that allowed to move Jack McInerney out there. Basically, they're playing a 4-3-3 at that point, and that opened the game. We felt like that's a little bit risky to do when you're 0-0 in these kind of conditions, but we want to make sure our players know we're going to go for the 3 points at home. And I thought that was at least a tactical change that ended up working out. Both having Michael push out there and then bringing Antoine in, that change.
Jack, you talk about McInerney developing into a clutch player.
I mean, he's always been a clutch player for me. I think now he's doing it week in and week out in this league, and he's an example of the type of growth that I think our team is going through right now. We have young players who are stepping up, and Jack is certainly the epitome of that right now, and that he gets 2 game-winning goals back-to-back in tough circumstances. But those are the little progressions that I think these young guys have to make in their careers, and certainly that helps our team.
You talk about the partnership with Jack on top of that.
Yeah, I think Seba and Jack have, they're still getting, there's still a little bit of time that needs to happen, but you see now, for sure, from last week to this week, the movement was better from both of them. They were looking for each other. They held the ball up so the other one was running off. They were more in sync. I still think we can get much better at that. We have a lot of work to do there. But at least from my point of view, I think you start to see that happen.
Last week, really tough conditions to play in, the games exposed snow and the blizzard and all that. You come out with a victory again this week, very cold, rainy, tough conditions. You guys really battle and fight. Can you talk a little bit more about the toughness of your team and what that means in this league moving forward in the season?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie to you. My feet are frozen right now, okay? And 2 weeks in a row, all through this preseason, except for when we were in Florida, we battled through kind of crazy conditions, training and playing. And I think our attitude has always been that, the stuff that we can't control, we just get on with it, And the guys have kind of adapted that. I think, we've talked a lot about being Philly tough, and we are starting to show that we are Philly tough. And playing in these kind of conditions with things that happened last week, we're getting results, and we're playing in things that, are tough to play in.
John, there was a report yesterday about Freddie Dew and the potential move to Brazil. What can you say about that move or potential move or rumor?
For tonight, I'm just going to concentrate on this game, so I respectfully decline to answer that. I'll address it for midweek, okay?
Hack, how do you approach this week that has got a friendly this week and it's so early in the season?
Well, I think we try to keep our rhythm going. It's actually a good time to push these guys really hard. So we'll have some very hard training sessions. Have a friendly here where, some guys who haven't played will get an opportunity to really show all of you guys and all the fan base how much true competition we've had in training, and that's deserved. But then obviously we got to get ready for a big trip north and a good opponent. So.
With Keon Daniel playing centrally again today, as he did on opening day, do you anticipate him playing more in the center for the rest of the year, or are you going to keep on moving guys back and forth depending on the opposing team?
It depends a little bit on our opposition. Keon has been good though. I mean, he's been really good. He's been solid in conditions like today. We were talking about how amazing his touch was, and the fact that we could play through him and still play a possession type game. And while that really didn't lead to anything in the first half, I think you do that long enough, and that started to show in the second half when we started having more and more of the ball. And I did keep possession, and he's a key player for us. I don't want to discount what Michael Farfan does. The interchanging of Keon and Michael, where they can both play that role, is really important. And the fact that I can move, one of them inside and one of them wide, and they interchange on their own, that makes it hard to defend.
His first 3 games, on the top 1 league, season is starting out earlier. What's your thoughts? Make a difference when you have to start earlier and medium possible.
Well, right now, I'm happy about it because we're sitting on, good points after 3 games. So I'll take 6 points after 3 games. So I'm not going to complain about the weather, although my toes are still frozen. And but it is, I'll say, in talking to coaches around the league, it's been hard for everybody. It affects how you train. It affects your preparation. It obviously affects some of the quality of play out there. I was watching DC and Red Bull earlier on TV, and they had some snow there, so it's tough. But I think it's that way all over the world too. Maybe we're all getting a little tougher in that regard.
John, just back to the corner case real quick. It seems like Sebastian is just hitting that service so much better than he was in 2011 and 2010. Is that something you emphasize when you brought back to the team?
Well, we just, I think part of it's just Sebastian is improving like everybody else. That's something that he is very prideful of, the fact that he can take those corners. And to be fair, when we started practicing restarts early in the preseason, I don't think the staff had the idea that Sebastian would be the guy taking corners. But to his credit, he's been really consistent, and he's serving such a good ball. That's another aspect of being dangerous on corner kicks, and he continues to do that. So I think that's just a development in his own game.
One more question. When Dan Pierce came out of the game, you brought up Michael Hood, so you had a situation with two holding midfielders. He was playing mostly out wide right. Why did you go for Hood as opposed to Rudge or to Jocelyn?
Partly because of a guy like Michael Hood, where he's a center midfielder, but he's also played a lot both as a right back. He played right back for Chivas. He played wide in the midfield for Chivas, and know that he can do it. And at that point, early in a game, just felt like with the conditions being the way we were, it wasn't going to be a pretty game. And putting Michael on there, we kept him at wide right, and that was good for us. So just the coach's decision on that. We talked about it on the bench, and that was what we went with. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. The locker room for players is open now.